Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about two Kung Fu films. These are Rain in the Mountains and Legends of the Mountains, or On the Mountains. You know, they're both released by Eureka, Master Cinema. They're two Kung Fu films, I mean, from the 70s. These are the last two films. They were made back to back, and basically the deal was he would make the martial arts one for the financiers, and this other one, the Legends, he made for himself, and he distributed, he'd own that film. So they were both films that he made with some of the same actors, some of the same locations, in the same area, and he did less restrictions on like time, really, especially for Legends of the Mountains, and he didn't have to the need to have tons of kung fu fights in either of them, so that kind of helped him a little bit. But one of them was more conventionally like his older films, the more successful films, and that film made money, and Legend of the Mountains didn't. Now, Legend of the Mountains is one I liked a lot better, but Rain in the Mountains is good. It's a good film. It's a really good idea, which is there's this parchment of this old ancient parchment that these two people who support the monastery want. You know, they want it. It's important to them to own this object. The same way people buy objects, people with money buy objects now. It's almost to make them feel important they own this thing that no one else can have. And both these guys want this. They have to have it. And they have a different method of doing it. Both of them have corrupted some of the monks, because they know that the lead monk is dying and is retiring and will be choosing successor, and they're both pretty much paid off successor as an option to get this thing. They both want it, so they both said, if I get you the job, will you give me this? And yep. They also are manipulating, both of them try to steal it at the same time, because they don't quite trust that angle too. But they try to steal it without actually being seen. So one of them brings in a thief, notorious thief. Another one brings in this lawman who's very, very corrupt and very brutal. And they both try to manipulate the situation and make the other person side look bad, and make the other choice look bad for the to be the leader after the old leader's gone. And to this mix comes this guy who was classed as a criminal, even though he wasn't, because one of the lawmen who's actually on one of the sides, accused his brother of being a criminal, and accused him of being a criminal. So the only way out of being a prisoner is to join the monastery. So he joins the monastery, and as the lead monk starts to see that this guy has a lot of potential, that he is a genuinely decent person, he has ideals, and he would make a great monk. So he starts to show him how to do everything, and the guy starts to get trained, and the manipulations continue. There are some minor skirmishes. It's not a massive kung fu fight thing till the end, really. And there's lots of political machinations going on. I mean, I was expecting much more fighting, because a lot of the other kung fu films I'd seen had more fighting, especially towards the end, after everything had been planned out and everything had been, all the plot had been sorted. There usually was a massive set of fights. This one doesn't really have that. It has a fight at the end that goes on for a bit, but it's not like a major kung fu movie. It does feel like a story with kung fu in it, and it's really good. It's a really strong film. It's just not as good as something like Touches Zen or Come Drink With Me, you know, one of his classics. This one feels like a minor film made by a very good director. You know, it's a master director making a late minor film. It doesn't hit all the same notes as some of his other better stuff, but it's still really enjoyable. The characters are really enjoyable. The situation's really fun. The way everything develops is really well done. And the solution to the puzzle of what does the lead monk do and how does his successor actually deal with everything is really clever. So it's really worth your while paying for this and watching it. You'll enjoy it. It's a good one for the library. It'll be a good one to rewatch. Legends is a much better film though. Legends is the ghost one, the one that was uncommercial. It's 3 hours long, but it doesn't feel 3 hours long. It feels much shorter because one of those films that's paced a certain way that you feel that you're always getting information that's interesting. Basically, a guy has to go into this area that's very ghostly to copy this sutra down because it's been requested of him, and he's a man without a job at the moment, so he goes and does it. But it's really taking some time, and within this area there are ghosts who can walk around like people, and they are trying to influence him because they will read the sutra for their own needs. And it's all the supernatural and the natural world intermingling. I mean, that's the basic plot, is how he's been manipulated. And you get more and more characters introduced as time goes on. But each character is introduced in an interesting way. There are flashbacks to see how things got this bad. And it's just the tone of the film is so good, so intriguing, so weird, and it's just the natural world and the supernatural world just joins together in a very interesting way that's not forced, it's not overdone. The way it's done a lot in Japanese cinema, where they exist side by side, you know. In this film, it's also exists side by side, even though it's not a Japanese film. And it's just how they develop together, how the stories develop together, how the characters develop, what are the problems that the supernatural characters face, why did they die, things like that, and what's the problems of the lead character as well, and where's he weak and where's he strong, and it's just a wonderful story. It's one of those ones I don't want to say that much about though, because it'll ruin the surprises. It's just really beautiful. It's just like, you just have to sit in and realise, I'm watching a ghost story. That's it. That's what you're watching, is a ghost story. And just sit back and relax and enjoy it. It's 3 hours long, but does not feel like 3 hours long. The acting's terrific. The atmosphere and the colour scheme's terrific. Everything's very haunting. It kind of feels a lot like Shine in a way, where it's a supernatural film where you could hardly spend even longer in that world, because the world is so seductive in a way and so intriguing that you just want to keep watching and seeing more of the world, because it's such a great world. And it's such a wonderful film. The characters are really engaging. The characters are funny. There's a lot of tragedy. There's a lot of sadness. There's a terrific villain, and the lead character has to show a lot of bravery to survive it, because the villain is unrelenting as it goes on, and the whole film is just this beautiful package, this wonderful film that was forgotten for years. It was cut down to like half, I think, so I'm not sure it made much sense, and apparently the subtitling was terrible, so a lot of the dialogue felt laughable because it wasn't quite right. So Master Cinema went back, put it back to its proper length, did the proper subtitling, and now it's great. Now it's what it should have been. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's one of the best films I've seen this year. Like, easily. You know, from any year, this one's one of the best films I've seen this year. It's just so good. It's one of my favourite Kung Fu films, easily. Even more than some of his acclaimed classics, this is one of my favourites. It's just so good. But again, I don't want to say much about it beyond go see it. It's a great characters. I think it's just, you just want to see it and see the developments as it goes. And discover them on your own. I mean, the first film I talked about, Raiding the Shadows, Raiding the Mountains, most stuff I described as stuff you find out like from the first 20-30 minutes, and then it's how it develops. This one, it's like I don't even want to explain that beyond the first 10 minutes of plot, and then you just watch the way the rest of the film evolves. So it's wonderful. Just go see it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I've encouraged you to go see these films. Right, bye for now.